I, Good morning. I'm so excited to be here. I hope you are too. So I've been told to start right on time, and Anjali Kronheim, our lead organizer, when she says start on time, she really means it. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. My name is Mary Beth Fielder, and I'm here to welcome you to a 28th Amendment conference, legal issues, remedies, and strategies to get the money out of politics. Yay! And I want to tell you a little bit today about how this conference came about and what we hope to accomplish today. As many of you know, last year Los Angeles became the first major city in the United States to pass a resolution calling on Congress to amend the Constitution to end all corporate constitutional rights, to establish that only living human beings are entitled to constitutional rights, and that we have a right to regulate campaign finance. Yay. In other words, to say that corporations aren't people and money's not speech. So that effort started with only a handful of people a little over a year and a half ago, but in 9 short months it grew to a huge groundswell of support. I think a lot of the people in the room today here might have been part of that effort, and you remember that many groups came together and we filled the chambers of City Hall and we filled the overflow room, and together with Eric Garcetti and Bill Rosendahl, 2 of the city council people who were instrumental in working with us, and the rest of the city council, we stood up for the American people and for our future, and we passed this resolution. So since then, 11 states are on record for an amendment, and more than 400 cities and towns have gone on record calling for a constitutional amendment. And even our newly elected president said that this has to happen, that we've got to get this done. But there are also some wrinkles to iron out, and despite the desire for everyone to get on the same page, there are different ideas about how best to approach legislative and constitutional solutions, and I think these are very important to think through, so that's a lot of what we're going to be doing today. And also, just to put it into some context, I think some of these differences arise out of the fact that there are 2 long-standing reform movements with slightly different goals that have intersected around the Citizens United Supreme Court decision. The first is the narrative of how corporations have usurped human rights, and the second is the story of campaign finance reform and the effort to limit undue influence of money on politics. And both these movements see overturning Citizens United as part of the solution, but both also envision changes that are far larger than simply turning the clock back to January 20th, 2010. So that's part of the challenge here, is finding an amendment and that really satisfies both those reform urges. And today we're going to be exploring these varying perspectives, and we're going to get also, I think, a real education in the process. And just to keep you on your toes, towards the end of the day, we're going to have breakout groups. And we have a series of questions that we're going to just talk through and see how our perspectives have changed over the day. I think many of you, there was a series of 4 or 5 questions that you answered at the beginning of the day, so we're going to see how those shift, and we're going to discuss additional questions as well that are related to the topics that are going to be discussed. So pay attention, because you are in a law school and you will be tested. So we don't expect that we're going to come out of today with any definitive conclusions, but we do hope that by bringing together all of these wonderful experts with all of you wonderful activists, that we'll gain a greater sense of understanding, and that together we will figure out the best way forward. But before we get started, I also do want to tell you a little bit about our new Money Out Voters In Coalition. There are many groups who work together on the City Council resolution effort, and afterwards we decided that it made sense for us to continue our work. And so this conference is our first joint effort, and I think from the look of it, we've done a pretty good job. So I hope you'll feel that way at the end of the day as well. We also have some wonderful organizations which came on board as conference co-sponsors. You can see their logos on the back of the program, but there are a few individuals that I want to single out for special thanks. And first, we have the amazing Anjali Kronheim. I don't know if she's in the room or she's still out there organizing, but Anjali really cracked the whip and kept us together and kept us on time and kept us on the straight and narrow. So big shout out to Anjali. She's amazing. And next, I want to thank Lisa Graves from the Center for Media and Democracy. Lisa, thank you for your guidance in putting together the panels and your advice along the way. and also your wonderful support. So we really appreciate it, Lisa. It's an honor to have you here and to have you part of this effort. Thank you. There's Lisa over there. Give a hand. Thanks. And next we have Greg Colvin. Greg was the first speaker to sign. He's over there, so you can look at him and give him good energy. He was the first speaker to sign on to the conference, and Greg was instrumental in putting together our first panel and all of the, I think there's 6 or 7 panelists, and thinking that through. And Greg also wrote an article last year kind of delineating the different issues that needed to be resolved as we moved forward in terms of an amendment. And that article really, in many ways, was part of the intellectual inspiration for today. So Greg also worked to put together the straw poll questions, and so we really are so grateful that we had him helping us, and that we were also able to further his ambition, which was to have a kind of higher level discussion of the deeper issues, and to include the public in that as well. So thank you, Greg. And finally, I want to thank Kathy Mayorkas and the entire team at UCLA. I mean, they've just been amazing. Kathy is just so on top of it and just so incredibly nice to work with. And she said it, so I can say it. She referred to herself as having a type A personality, and I really appreciate that type A personality, because I don't have one. I have it in certain respects, but not that organizational respect. So thank you, Kathy. You really, it was just fantastic. So I think it's going to be quite a day. I hope you come out informed, energized, and ready to take action. And so now I'm going to turn it over to Michelle Sutter, who's a great pal, co-organizer, committed activist, and she's going to be the MC for the day, and then I'll come back at the end to wrap things up. So I think it's going to be a fantastic day, and I just hope everybody really enjoys it, and stay on your toes, because we need to keep, it's going to be intellectually challenging as well.